When shopping for a new compact crossover, it's likely that you have your eyes on the Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, or Ford Escape, as traditionally, those have always been the go-to options for consumers in this market. But in 2022, it might be time to expand your horizons, as Volkswagen and Hyundai offer crossovers that can provide everything you demand in your next vehicle, such as size, practicality, interior technology, and efficiency. With the completely new Tucson and the current generation Tiguan, you have two SUVs that bring a lot to the table, and also give you alternatives if you find the RAV4 and CR-V undesirable. So here's a comparison between the Tucson and Tiguan to see if they're the right fit for you and your family. Unlike other segments in the automotive world, interest in compact crossovers is primarily driven by the utility they provide, rather than the outward appearance. But for both the Tiguan and Tucson, it's more than just the cosmetic features that's created buzz, as these two vehicles in the past weren't seen as being on the same level as the RAV4 and CR-V. For 2022, that's all changed, and specifically for Hyundai, they now have an SUV that can truly compete when it comes to size. Compared to last generation, the Tucson has grown 6 inches in length and a half inch in width and height, which will have a profound effect on interior space and cargo room, significantly closing the gap between the larger offerings in this market. As this Korean brand continues to improve on quality, an entirely new design for the Tucson brings futuristic body lines and a unique front fascia to capture your attention. The prior generation was without question subdued when it came to the outward appearance, easily blending in on the roadways, whereas the 2022 model is far more striking from multiple angles. Despite the all-new looks, it's really the dimensions that has everyone talking, as now it's very similar in size to the Volkswagen Tiguan, Honda CR-V, and Toyota RAV4. And by upsizing, Hyundai is better equipped to take on its rivals. Then taking a look at the Volkswagen Tiguan, there's no real surprises, as this generation has been with us for a while. 2022 did usher in a facelift to give this crossover a bit more of a dynamic look up front, following the same design path as the Jetta and GTI. By opting for the SER line, the Tiguan will have a sportier look with gloss black accents for a nice color contrast. But on the SEL, Volkswagen went a bit more upscale, adding an LED strip that runs through the emblem and flows into the headlights. Compared to the Tucson, this crossover is a bit more unassuming and blends in better among traffic, relying heavily on its accommodating cabin and interior space to draw in buyers. For both the Volkswagen Tiguan and Hyundai Tucson, the cabin, interior quality, and overall practicality have made these crossovers great alternatives for buyers not interested in the Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4. Despite this segment drawing in consumers who prioritize utility, family friendliness, and in some cases fuel efficiency, Volkswagen and Hyundai have also found a way to throw a visually appealing dashboard and technology into the mix, allowing drivers to have their cake and eat it too. The demands and expectations have never been higher, and even though we're now 2 years into the 2020s, competitors can still leave you feeling underwhelmed when getting behind the wheel. First, taking a look at the Tiguan, the 2022 model now comes standard with a digital display, removing the analog gauges to help modernize the driving environment. It should be noted that for a higher resolution digital cluster, you'll want to opt for the SEL-R line, and what we experienced with the SE left much more to be desired. New and becoming common for Volkswagen is haptic feedback buttons mounted on the steering wheel, which will take some time to get used to as they're quite sensitive. In an effort to move away from physical buttons and dials, Volkswagen integrated touch-sensitive controls that are mounted on either side of the head unit, and also closer to the center console where you'll find your climate control settings. Even with a minor learning curve, everything is within arm's reach, and best of all, the user interface is easy to navigate through. And if you've owned a Volkswagen in the past, you should be familiar with this touchscreen. When it comes to seating comfort, the heated leatherette seats in the SER line we featured offered a decent amount of support, with bolstering being kept to a minimum. Since the Tiguan is one of the larger vehicles in this market, you'll have plenty of shoulder room up front, and for passengers in the second row, they won't be complaining about a lack of head or leg room. And in fact, we're confident in saying that you could squeeze a third occupant in the center on shorter drives. But it gets even better if you opt for a model that doesn't have an optional third row equipped, as rear cargo space comes in at 37.6 cubic feet of room, outclassing many in this segment, and is very competitive with the Toyota RAV4 and Honda CR-V. But how does the Hyundai Tucson stack up against the Tiguan? 2022 ushered in wholesale changes, completely transforming this crossover into being a practical, upscale, and enticing vehicle that outshines the prior generation. Not only are you greeted by an array of technology that could rival some luxury brands, but it's the visually appealing presentation of the dashboard and center console that wraps around you to provide a fighter jet-like cockpit. It's rare to come across vehicles in this market that captivates you, while also resembling interiors found in larger and more expensive SUVs. Beginning with the digital gauge cluster, this is hands down one of the best displays in this segment that puts many rivals to shame, as it's interactive, high quality, and responsive. Familiar if you've experienced Kia products recently, this 10-inch screen is reminiscent of some of the user interfaces in luxury crossovers. While this head unit isn't too in-depth, it is quick to respond, and the menus are cleanly laid out for quick access. As with most infotainment systems, there will be a bit of a learning curve at the beginning if you're coming from a previous generation Tucson. Most impressive, and this is not typical for most crossovers in this price range, is the fact that you have a premium center console with the heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, and park assist features all located here. In the limited trim we had featured last year, the leather seats were more than comfortable, and bolstering was relatively aggressive, which gave us a secure feeling behind the wheel. Just like with the Tiguan, there's plenty of room both up front and in the back, with plenty of head and legroom for occupants in the second row. When it comes to practicality, the 38.6 cubic feet of room is pretty much identical to the RAV4 and CR-V, and is marginally more spacious than the Volkswagen Tiguan. Either way, you won't be disappointed with either compact crossover. Compact crossovers in this market and price range aren't necessarily the draw for buyers looking for an engaging driving experience, nor do they expect the most plush ride quality. However, the 2022 Hyundai Tucson and Volkswagen Tiguan do have their strengths and weaknesses, where they can be enjoyable commuters and family haulers while still leaving you demanding more when it comes to the performance. Starting with the Tucson, the fully gas-powered model has a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine that puts out 187 horsepower and 182 pound-feet of torque, and is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. But for those who desire better performance and efficiency, there will be an optional 1.6-liter turbocharged hybrid four-cylinder engine that puts out 226 horsepower, and a plug-in hybrid variant with 261 horsepower. Having experienced a 2.5 extensively, it's not our favorite powertrain, as you'll certainly find better when it comes to the refinement during the accelerations, and the gear shifts are lacking smooth transitions. Performance aside, Hyundai is offering fuel-efficient alternatives, where the hybrid receives 37 mpg in the city and 36 mpg on the highway, and then for the plug-in hybrid, you'll have a combined average of 35 miles per gallon and a full electric range of 33 miles. Considering the price of gas right now, the Tucson is more than enticing from an economical perspective, and the added horsepower is a nice bonus. The Volkswagen Tiguan, on the other hand, is powered by a 2-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine that puts out 184 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque, and is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. When compared to the 2.5 in the Tucson, you'll find that the Tiguan is more fun to drive, as both the powertrain and transmission are quicker to respond. Now, we're not saying that it's an athletic crossover by any means, but within its segment, it's giving you just enough where you'll stay engaged behind the wheel. When it comes to fuel economy, you're looking at right around 23 miles per gallon in the city and 30 miles per gallon on the highway, which is on par with most gas-powered competitors, But if you're looking to be efficient, you may want to spend a bit more time cross-shopping the rivals. Strictly focused on the driving dynamics, the Tiguan complements drivers who want an upscale experience, as handling does provide some feedback, and despite its boxy shape and size, it is maneuverable and somewhat agile on back roads. Even better is that the Tiguan has a European driving style that the Tucson doesn't replicate, which is why, from an on-road point of view, we'd lean more towards the Tiguan in that regard. In the past, and with prior generations for both the Tiguan and Tucson, buyers would often overlook both crossovers due to their size and them not being on par with the more popular CR-V and RAV4. However, for 2022, you have alternatives. And while the Tiguan and Tucson offer different ownership experiences, whether it be the availability of hybrid and plug-in hybrid variants from Hyundai, or the better driving characteristics with the Tiguan, you honestly can't go wrong with either model because of their exceptional practicality and overall interior space. They're the perfect size if you have a family, and for those looking for a modern driving environment and cabin, the tech you'll interact with on a daily basis will enhance your experience every time you get behind the wheel. That's why we feel the Tiguan and Tucson are great compact crossovers in their own way, and gives consumers other options when searching for a vehicle in this market. We hope you enjoyed this comparison between the 2022 Volkswagen Tiguan and 2022 Hyundai Tucson. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos like this one. And if you're interested in buying a compact crossover, make sure to check out our full reviews and quick buyer's guides to help you find your next vehicle. And thanks for watching.